All right. First public comment period. Edgy, short here.
Good evening, folks. Yeah. Can I just pass those along for me?
I can.
Thank you. Okay, I am here for several reasons this evening. One, I have my Chamber and Pride hat on. We would like to decorate the poles downtown for fall. We've got lots of different things going on, including Seth Fest coming up soon. So we believe we can get some corn shocks, I think they're called, donated, and zip tie them around the poles. So we would be in charge of getting that done and then taking them down and cleaning up. So we wanted to see if that would be okay. And that was the first thing. You guys can talk about it later. And the second thing is I gave you this this seed grant that the Chamber of Commerce has coming out. And I talked a little bit already with the mayor and Nick about this. Although reading upon it a little more, I worry that if you guys still have your base grant in play, it may interfere with it. If the city is the applying entity. So I may take this to the chamber or another nonprofit to talk about doing to get some of these improvements, and mostly the things like sitting and community placemaking improvements that Pride has been working on for some time. So I only have a week though, and a half. So, but the good part about it is we've written so many grants for those. We have the budget. We know what we'll have to rebid the materials, but we know what those cost. So they shouldn't be too hard to do. But so this is more an FYI now that this might be happening. Currently, we're kind of in a weird place. I know we came in about a year, almost 2 years ago, to redo the planters, and we were going to replace those. And between the time we got all our grants and the time we could order them, they like doubled in price or more. So we're looking at refurbishing the ones we have. The city thankfully picked them all up, and we got to get them cleaned up and repainted. Those are the ones that are downtown with the medallions that match the benches and things. So we're working on that, and the trash cans too. But in the meantime, we did order different trash cans that we can place at another area at future time because we needed them for Wishunga Days and stuff. So they're still downtown. You'll see them. They look a little different than the old ones. But the plan is to refurbish the old ones, add a few more, make all that cohesive down to the west side, and then talk to you guys about what we could do on the east side. So anyway, this is an FYI. I wanted you to know. I know I had talked about it a little bit with the mayor and Nick, like I said, but I don't want to screw up your chances for the base grant. I don't know where you guys are at on that. So that's all I have to say.
I just asked, you want to mention about where we are?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, the base grant. So obviously legislature's not in session right now. It's an election year and things like that. So we won't know anything until next year sometime on if they plan on doing another round of base grant.
Well, it sounds like they might, just based on them saying, if you do this, you might not get it. So I was like, well, I don't want to mess that up. So,
Does anybody have any
questions?
objections to doing the corn?
Oh, the corn things?
No.
Okay.
Great idea.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks
So
for
that's-
doing it.
This is just FYI, so you don't have to vote on this.
This is a,
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
okay. Next, let's go to the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
You do.
Okay. Move the second to approve the consent, not agenda, just, you know what I'm trying to say. Consent agenda. All those in favor?
Who seconded it?
Mark, second, Jason first, I believe.
That's right.
Motion carries 6-0. Okay, old business water tower update, Nick.
Viking Industries is here. They started the metal work on the water tower. They're hoping by the end of the month, I think they're in Silver Lake right now, repainting a water tower there. They're hoping to be up here by the end of the month, start the painting and the rehab inside the water tower. They don't have a date on when we would need to drain the water tower or anything like that yet. Once that does happen, Darius guys will be on a 10-hour rotating schedule because the generator, we have to create water the whole time since we can't fill up the water tower, so they'll be on a schedule. Rick Penner said if they get all the fab and all that stuff done before they get here to paint, he estimates 3 to 5 weeks probably to paint it and rehab the inside of it and everything. But I talked to him today, he's supposed to give me some more firmer timelines, and also it's dependent on weather, wind and rain and everything else.
So those guys aren't in any part of that, working on that portion of the rehab yet?
They're part
Our
of that.
crews?
No, we're not doing anything. So part of the rehab there is fixing the metal railing that's compliance around the top of the tank, the ladder.
And we were supposed to be on schedule to start in like late August, early September.
Right, but the weather and stuff put them behind. So they can't paint when it's windy, obviously, so they're just behind. So,
Challenge in Kansas.
I was gonna say, yeah.
so
Kind of windy year this year.
Although I live close enough, I don't need my house to be silver.
The silver flake.
anyway, that's the plan as of right now, is they're planning on being here. Obviously, there's guys up there now doing the metal work that needs to be done to the tower.
Any other questions about that?
They're painting the inside of that,
Well, it's like
or is
I
it?
don't want to call it an epoxy, but they have to rehab the inside of it. It's got coating inside of it that's flaking off and wearing out.
Mhm.
So they have to go in and drain it, and then they'll go in and redo all
I
that.
do that, yeah.
So
From WIBW TV, a first
I
look weather
apologize,
update
I
has
can't
arrived.
figure out how to turn that thing down. I guess I need to turn
And
this
wind
off.
warning.
Is that what it is?
Water tower, yeah.
You don't wait for the water.
Don't paint your water tower.
It's probably a heat advisory for you. Okay, moving forward, new business, we have this, Sandy Jensen's here for our city audit.
Thank you, Val, just got this. All right, so we have 2 letters inserted in there. I think you guys will recognize those. Those are ones we're required to give you by professional standards. I don't know if she has it in the same order. One of them is way more pages than the other one. For the most part, I'm gonna let you look at these at your convenience. They are, talks about the audit process. It has attached to it journal entries. You keep your books mostly on the cash basis. I think we've talked about Kansas accounting, statutory accounting is pretty conservative. Receipts aren't receipts until they hit your hand, but expenses are expenses when you make the purchase. So the city gals give me a list each year to show these are the bills we paid in January or whenever, typically January, that were for December. So these entries are adjusting for, in essence, getting on the right side of 12/31 of year end each year. I think most of them are what I refer to as timing. They don't necessarily affect your balances except for at that one day. There was, a couple adjustments of those items, and then also entry to move a payment from sewer to sewer reserve. The last page on that is some audit unadjusted things. There were a few errors that we found along the way that we just left. I mean, you would spend weeks if you tried to solve every penny that ever happened. The second letter is one we're required to give you. It explains, it's not an internal control audit, but as a process of you going through it, you do notice different things. One of those, the first one, is what we consider a material weakness. You have a pretty small entity. So anytime, you have small entities, that makes it incumbent upon you all to look at the details, pay attention to, maybe look at the bank statements, or maybe Nick more so, somebody else kind of looking at everything to try to help minimize errors and risk. The other comment is just one that I put on there as a matter of potential opportunities to strengthen internal controls. It talks about communications. I understand probably a slippery slope on some of those, but I do think that some additional communications would be in your benefit. Page 1 of the audit is your report. For those of you, which might be all of you, no maybe not, that have seen an audit report, if you compare it to last year, you'll notice that our professional standards made us move it around. So now the opinion's at the top. So your opinion is adverse on GAAP basis. That's because you present your audit or your financial statements on the budget basis. And they're qualified on the budget basis because of the lake sales tax. Used to be, you would be able, we could tell December 31st what the taxes were on the lake property. But now where it's going through the cabin owners to sit there and try to figure out all of that, it becomes probably not very efficient. So your audit report is, except for that, everything is good. Most of the rest of it, like I said, is what you're customarily seeing. It's just in a different order. Page 3 is your financial statement. If you see your beginning unencumbered cash, which is your cash less your accounts payable, current debt was at 4.7 million. At the end of the year, you're at 5.3. So congratulations, you maintained a year. Beyond that's the notes. Most of those I think you'll find are pretty similar to what you've had in the past. On page 6, I should put my glasses on. On page 6, when we confirmed the city payments to the state treasurer, they make you send it like 20 days ahead of time, and I think one of them got there like 18 days ahead of time. So not anything too tragic, but something that you probably need to watch. Beyond that, debt. Most of it's pretty straightforward, and for the most part, I'm going to let you look at it. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to ask. Page 14 is your comparison to budget. All of your funds stayed in your budgeted authority. And congratulations. And on page 15 and on, it's a more detailed presentation of that page 1 financial statement. It shows by fund more of where your monies expended and received were compared to budget. I'm not sure if you have any concerns or any specific funds that you want to look at, but I'll let you take a gander at it, I guess, and see if there's any questions you have. We talked a little bit during the audit with Nick about a capital improvement plan. That's something that probably you should work towards. The capital improvement reserve, you haven't actually spent money out of it technically, because it's always been some kind of project that was going through there. Anytime you transfer money to the capital improvement plan, which is a multi-year capital improvement fund, theoretically, then you would say in 2024, I want to spend $50,000 on First Street. In 2025, I want to rehab the water tower or whatever. And it's a method. It should be a method to help you maybe set aside those funds to do that. It doesn't have to be anything. It just says a multi-year capital improvement plan. It doesn't have to be like you have to have the specific parameters, and it can be fluid. I mean, you can say, I'm going to do this in 2023 or 2026, let's say, and then in 2023 you think, holy cow, we got to do that. So you can switch to that. So it's probably something you should work toward getting done at one point.
Hey Cindy, do you, on page 23, under expenditures, do you know what the overage was there?
23 on the employee benefits, I really need to put glasses on. The overage where?
Under fireman's relief, it says other.
Was that, I don't recall, was that unemployment or something, or I don't recall? I don't recall.
There's unemployment.
Huh?
There's unemployment. They also cashed out their insurance stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember, I don't
Okay.
recall without looking at it.
I'm talking about the $654.
No, 16,000. On page 23, under expenditures, the very bottom line says other.
It has to be about the unemployment, but I didn't remember your unemployment being that much. Is work comp in there too?
You see
maybe?
that? An actual expenditure of 16,591
Oh, yeah.
versus 1,600 budgeted.
Mm-hmm. For the budget, yeah.
I don't recall without looking at it, honestly. I can look, or I'm sure we can look at one point and get back with you too, but I don't recall. Overall, the fund you stayed under, which is good, because health insurance is dang scary, not knowing what
That's
that
what
liability is gonna
caught my
be.
eye was everything else was so much under.
Yeah. Health insurance can be a pretty big eye-opening experience when you get that renewal, so.
Oh, tomorrow, I'll let you know, Mark.
Does anybody have any other questions or comments, concerns? Brian? Yeah?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to rush anybody. Is everybody okay, time-wise? Now, do we need to take an action on this?
No,
Not really.
no.
It's just an informational one.
Yep.
I'm not sure I wasn't messing up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, next, we have ordinance number 2255, providing the penalty, the notice, the penalty, and the fee for violation of section 8-510, disposal of grass clippings. It's on page 8. Anybody have any questions about that? Pretty good.
Brian.
If I might address that, Mayor.
Certainly.
So, when I crafted this penalty ordinance, I was doing it just based off of the section 8-510 that was put in place. Larry pointed out to me that section 8-101 under the general nuisance actually fills some of that and has its own penalty provision as well, and he was concerned there might be some overlap. So what I'd like to do is, if the council's okay with it, maybe if there's any input as to what I've suggested here, let me know, and that we revisit this maybe next month, where I've had a chance to reconcile the 8-101 and the 8-510 to make sure that we're not creating a conflict as far as punishments go. And I think that if there is a problem between now and then, our inspector could rely on the 8-101 for a penalty if he needed to, in the absence of what we were going to do tonight. And then we can make sure we have it a little cleaner.
That sounds good. Yeah, because when I got it, when I saw it, I thought, oh yeah, we have that other one too. There could be some conflict or some
Right.
kind of confusion. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so we'll put that, wait until next, put it on the next agenda.
Did anyone have any other thoughts as to the way that I lined out the punishment or the notice provision or for this particular section?
Does it have it where, you know, the first time you just get a notice saying that you've stepped across the line, you need to clean the place up?
What I did is I said that you get a notice, you get 24 hours to clean it up. If you don't clean it up, then you get a fine.
Okay.
And then if we have to clean it up, I know that he said you gotta send the high dollar street sweeper out there. So then basically what I've done is just assessed a flat $150 fee for us to go out there and clean it up, for whatever resources we decide to utilize to do that.
You know, and I noticed today when I was driving around, people that I know that Nina's talked to and cleaned up a mess or had another mess, so.
Just don't care.
You know.
Does that $100 fee cover our time and everything to get the street sweeper out?
The 150 would be for the street sweeper. The fine would be $100 if they don't clean it up in the 24 hours. Then if we have to come clean it up, it's another 150. So it's actually $250.
Oh, I see, okay.
So, yeah, hopefully that encourages people to
Yeah, 100%.
clean it up. I mean, I can imagine it doesn't.
And looking across 8-101, there's a place for basically dumping stuff onto sidewalk, streets, public property, or whatever. What I think I'll probably do is go into section 8-101 and carve out an exception for mowing leavings and direct them then to section 510 in 101 for that specific thing, and just carve that out for the grass and leaves as a result of mowing.
Yep. So I was telling him we might want to leave the leaves in there because people blow the leaves out into the street as well.
I'm gonna do the same thing in the fall.
So,
It might be chopped up, but they're still out there. Okay.
When I lived in Pennsylvania, they actually wanted you to rake your leaves onto the curb. Then they sent guys by with a big vacuum them all up and took them out and put them in the mulch deal. Then you can go out and get to pick up a load of mulch for $10. So,
So your leaves back?
yeah.
That's fine.
But you can imagine they have a lot of trees in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. And that's good. Okay. Anything else on that? You don't care?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay, on the governing body comments, and so we'll start with Brian.
I don't have any.
Okay, Nick,
I don't have any tonight.
Jason,
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor.
Mark?
No. Sorry I was late.
Is that what it is? Keith?
Thank you.
Huh?
I actually just reviewed that 8-501 or 510 today because I had a couple folks over there in Ward 3 that were talking to me about the football game last night about the alleys getting cluttered up with people's trash behind their fences. So that was, it was nice that we talked about it because that's been something that's been brought up several times, and I told him I would try to bring it up tonight in governing body. So I talked to Dan about it today, and he said that he's going to go take some pictures and start writing some letters and get that out there pretty quick.
Where's
That's
this
all I
at? I don't know about it, so.
It's off of Chautauqua Street and back to the west there, and there's a few houses that they were concerned about, so.
Okay.
South Chautauqua or North?
North Chautauqua.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing, oh, Larry, I'm next. I'm sorry, I'm thinking. Larry?
No, I have nothing to say.
Sharon. Okay. The only thing I have is, we have always talked and not followed through that we needed to have some planning sessions, work sessions, planning sessions. Talked with Brian a little bit about that, because none of us are going to get to go to convention this year. That, you know, maybe we could actually have dinner or something and talk about that. That would still be an open meeting, according to Brian's gonna do a little bit of research on that. But I do think that we need to plan, maybe even look up a date that we can do that, because just as Cindy just mentioned, you know, planning a fund and a plan for capital improvement, there's things like that that we probably need to be discussing. So,
We did it in 18 and 19, haven't done it since.
yeah, we haven't done, yeah, we kind of, with COVID, we kind of quit. And so if everybody would like to look at their calendar and see if there's a time that might work in the next couple of weeks. I know it gets crazy.
Is there a particular week night you're looking at?
I'm just wondering if we ought to maybe try to kind of, whatever, stick with a Tuesday, since we have meetings on Tuesday.
My Tuesdays stay pretty clear.
So,
27th?
next week, the 27th?
I have nothing on the 27th.
Okay. Okay, let's write this down, Tuesday. Is that gonna work for you, Nick?
I'll be here. What time?
Would it be better if we made it a little later for everyone? Or do you wanna do it at 5:30?
I'd work right up till 5, so if we could go a little later, I would really prefer that.
Would 6 PM be okay with everybody?
That'd be good.
Sure. We're gonna do that here?
Let's plan on here, we may have dinner, I mean, we can let everybody know,
Okay.
okay? Just would think about it, and Brian, we can talk about it, and that needs to be put, it will be an open meeting.
Yeah, we'll just do a simple agenda that is no action planning
Work
session.
work
agenda
session,
item.
yeah. Mhm.
But it
Yeah.
won't be, we won't identify specific things, that way we can.
It
talk
just, I'll put it in the
generally
paper as a work study.
Okay, good.
Planning session, at 6 o'clock on the 27th is all you need to do.
Well, it's just hard when we have meetings like this to keep it, you know,
Yeah.
to do the conversations, so I think that might be the best thing to do. Okay. Do I hear a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second. Okay, second. Moved and seconded to have a meeting, a work study here, tentatively here on the 27th at 6 PM. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And that's all I have, so, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Somebody else is already.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.